Hello and happy Monday. Happy November.
Howdy.
Howdy.
How y'all doing?
Well, all's good. Just turning my phone off.
Oh, nice. Welcome to Shockingly Delightful. I'm Krista with Wicked Wisdom Consulting. I am a fractional COO and ops consultant, helping people run their business, including the wonderful Michelle Barone.
Who is with Moksha Grace Coaching? Who is with? No, I found it.
You are Moksha Grace Coaching.
I am Moksha Grace Coaching. Claim it. Say it is so. So what I do is emotional liberation coaching, which means that I help you learn how to respond to situations instead of knee jerk react and just create a much more calmer life for yourself, uh, internally and externally. That's what I get to do every day.
Fantastic. And if you notice that the background just stopped moving, it was because it was distracting me. So I went back to a still image. Today's topic
Is
everyone stay calm. Inspired by the hilarious Michael Scott. If you know The Office, you have to know the scene where I believe it's where there's a fire starting. The fire got started intentionally, but no one knew that at the time. And so everyone starts panicking. He's trying to tell everyone not to panic while he's panicking himself.
Yeah. And don't we all do that sometimes? We get caught up in the inertia of and the adrenaline in something going on. And then if one person knee jerk reacts, then we all start reacting and going crazy.
Pretty sure that's how riots get started.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Which we might see a few of those this week, so everyone keep your head on straight.
Well, and that's honestly, that's the whole purpose of today's conversation is it's about responding, not reacting. Do you have that wonderful, beautiful graphic that you can show? Because I love that graphic.
Yeah. Un momento, por
I'm
favor.
turning my light on because the lighting is really weird in here.
There it is.
There it is. What we don't control as far as what happens, and then what we do control, which is how we respond to what happens. Oh, have you ever wished that you responded differently when you actually reacted?
Say that again.
Did you ever react to something and go, God, I wish I had just taken a minute and just paused?
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding? Oh my God, well, not so much anymore because I've learned that lesson hard enough to where now I don't, and now I will stop. But when I was in my early 20s, and before that, get out of town.
Yeah. And what happens after you react that way?
I think it depends on who it is that you're talking to, but like for me, I usually feel really bad afterwards because once I get started, it's 0 to 100 for me.
Yeah. And that's why it's so important to manage the boiling effect, I should say. Like, don't be the frog in the boiling water. Like, if you know that things are getting heated or getting bad, and you can feel it in your body.
Don't be this person.
Yes. Oh my God, it's happening! Everything's happening. Stay calm. It's so funny because I don't even watch the show, but like I've seen this scene like so many times.
Oh, because I've showed it to you because it's hilarious.
Well, and also, heck, when I worked in healthcare, we had this happen like all the time. We practiced for this kind of thing. And that's what you should be doing from a place of love, not fear, is preparing for different situations when you can. Like, we have animals. we're prepared with like an emergency medical kit.
I've got multiple emergency medical kits. Let's be honest. I've got like the in-depth medical kit that's like easy to get to, but then I have like the okay, I really need to patch up somebody's leg or whatever. So here's my emergency kit that's more accessible that I don't have to get a stepladder to get. And then there's like also one in the house. It's animal life.
Yeah. Before we dive in, a couple of announcements. I thought it would be kind of fun to do some announcements because we actually have some, or at least Moksha Grace has a couple, and you as well. Number one, yeah, what was I going to say? Oh, Wednesday, we have Moment of Presence at 12 o'clock. No, Thursday. We have Moment of Presence at 12 o'clock. Maybe I should read my announcements. And we have, it's going to be all about gratefulness and traditions and, the typical November stuff that we'll be talking about. And then also on Thursday, I'm going to be on a live podcast. I believe it is 11 o'clock that
It's this week. I have it as next week.
No, it's this week. It's this week.
Okay.
It
I have
is.
the wrong date then. Okay.
It's Thursday the 9th. Isn't Thursday the 9th?
Probably. Okay, I just had the wrong date. Nope, Thursday's the 7th.
Okay, the 7th, Thursday the 7th. And I will be a guest on the Taste Life Nutrition radio show. So I am looking forward to that. And I am always grateful to be invited onto podcasts. And also, we have the Odonata community with Moksha Grace Coaching. And also, we have the Thankful Train going on right now. And if you are not a part of the Moksha Grace Facebook group, then I strongly suggest you join us. It is absolutely free. And at the moment, we are doing a daily gratitude challenge where all you have to do is read the prompt. And I don't care if you just think about the prompt for a few minutes, but give yourself a couple moments to be in the state of gratitude. And you will find that practicing this every day will change your life. Okay, I'm done now. Back to regular programming.
So back to today's topic, everyone stay calm. This obviously isn't just about the election either. I mean, as you read, if you read the description of the episode, it's not just about the election. We've got Thanksgiving in literally 3 weeks. We've got Christmas, would that be 7 weeks? New Year's then in 8 weeks. Then we've got 2025. And I don't know about you guys, but I honestly do feel, hold on.
I need to write myself a note to order the turkey.
Oh, good. Yeah, we order our turkey from a local place. I don't know about you guys, but personally, I very much feel like this about the year and where the year has gone.
Yeah.
Because 2 minutes ago, we were celebrating birthdays in January. So, like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm. I don't know how it went so fast. What happened?
They say time flies when you're having fun, but I don't really feel like I've had a lot of fun. So, like,
it's been really weird. It's been really weird. And
Yeah.
if you're here and you're joining us, thank you for being here. And also say hi in the chat. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And also share out to anyone that you think could use a little a reminder about staying calm no matter what happens.
I don't think Shockingly Delightful is necessarily calm, but let's go back into the topic because I keep bringing us there and you keep going, here's this other thing over here.
Stay calm.
Whatever. Anyway. Obviously, the biggest thing right now is that Election Day is officially tomorrow. There's going to be a lot of people there's going to be a lot of people super stoked and a lot of people super upset, regardless of the result. And I am a little worried about some large cities if a certain result happens because one side tends to throw, I'll call them temper tantrums, which we have seen before.
Mhm.
Therefore, I am a little concerned for some of the
Mhm.
major cities, but I'm going to see them in a loving light
Mhm.
and pray that people keep their head on correctly and stay calm.
Yes. And remember our graphic.
And remember that everybody is each other's neighbor, and we don't need to hate each other because of
Right.
people that we don't even know.
Yeah. And we're all created from the same
Oh my God,
mold.
I thought you were quoting Couples Retreat.
No. What was the couples retreat?
It's like, we are all created in God's image.
Well, we are. We're all connected energetically. So the bottom line is stay the frick calm, people. Like, there are things that we can't control. All we can control is our emotions and how we respond to it.
Mm-hmm.
So getting all upset, freaking out, I have a feeling we're not going to know results
Oh, they're gonna
for
milk it.
a
We won't know.
while.
Yeah, we're probably not gonna know for a week or
And
two.
that, right. And that does not mean that you
I mean,
should
we'll know
live.
like preliminary, but it won't be like
Yeah.
set in stone.
That doesn't mean that anyone should live in like an anxious state or a
No,
panic state until it's decided, because guess what? That could be till January.
no, it won't
Well,
take to January.
December.
That can't happen.
Well, there's been
Well,
a
never
lot of,
say never, but
I was going to say, there's been a lot of things that we thought could never happen and they've happened. So it has been just a crazy 4 or 5 years um, in the world.
yeah.
And a lot of things that we thought could never happen or you'd never expect or I never thought I would live to see um, has happened, and
Mhm.
it's just crazy when you think about it.
Yes, and not but and yes and thinking of these last 4 years, I think the really good thing that's happened, despite so much going wrong, is that a lot of people have been forced to deal with their emotions. They've
Hmm.
been forced to see beyond what they initially were. Um,
Hmm.
and I think there's been a lot of minds that have been open. There's still a lot of minds that are super closed. There's still a lot of minds that are very just committed to
Yep.
being negative, and that's their journey. But I think the
Hmm.
beautiful thing of the last 4 years is there's been a lot of people who've really opened their eyes and taken their, that classic ostrich's head in the
Yeah.
sand. That head has come out of the sand and is actually looking around nervously, but is looking around. And I think that's the really positive thing of the last 4 years. I also don't want this whole episode to just be negative. So
Yeah.
what are
No.
you looking forward to the last 2 months of 2024?
Oh, for me, that's a challenging one because there's going to be a lot of firsts because there's been, um, an ending to uh, um, a
Your
piece.
mom's passed. Why
Yeah.
are you trying to say it weird?
But it's not. I mean, my mom's passed. My husband's mom has passed. Both grandmothers have passed in this year, and so there's a lot of change, and it's going to feel very different, and so I couldn't control any of that. All I can control is how I'm going to respond to it. I don't know what that's going to look like, but I'm going to go with it. And I'm just going to ask everyone to be really patient with me.
I was gonna say,
And
I feel like you're gonna go total Michael Scott in the GIF, which let me pull it back up again. I feel like this is going to be you most of the holiday season. I'm just gonna, you know what? I'm just gonna keep this on deck, ready to go at any point. That I think is going to be you most of the next 2 months.
I don't think so because that's not how like that's not how I feel, at least about the holidays. I just feel like there's going to be a lot of newness and I'm not sure what that's going to look or feel like. And
Well, I mean,
so,
you're also the person who is like, oh, well, we can do anything for the holidays now. Let's just go somewhere.
yeah, why do you think that I said that? Because I wanted to get
Because
as
you're a
far
crazy.
away from the typical tradition of sitting around our table.
Interesting. So, shall we explore this live on
And I'm very aware of why I said that. I'm very aware of why I said I would like to potentially go away for the holidays because I wanted to do something completely different so that it wasn't so much of a punch in the face of who is missing in the picture, in literally the family picture. And so,
And
yeah,
instead, what we're doing
I'll,
is for Thanksgiving, instead of green bean casserole, I'm making some nice sauteed green beans. And
mhm,
instead of sweet potato casserole, we're going to do some roasted root vegetables.
right.
We're going to
And
make some
we're
changes. So it
yeah,
feels new.
right. So it feels new and it feels different. And that's all about adapting and evolving. I mean, that's what we have to do. And what I can say to everyone out there, because I know that a lot of people have lost
Mm-hmm.
people, and not just to death. Some have lost them because of political
Okay,
views.
hold on, because we're not going to, we can't get into next week's topic. We need to stop and go
Okay, I'll be very
back.
careful. Um, but my point is that just go with the flow and be adaptable and just be in the moment. Enjoy what is there in front of
Yeah.
you.
Because here's the thing. Obviously, the last few weeks we talked about we're Trump supporters. There it is. Boom! I've said it. Black and white. Can't miss it. We're Trumpies. If it were to not work out that way, you know what my reaction is going to be? There's going to be a couple expletives, and then I'm going to move on with my life.
Right. And we're going to make the best of it, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because that's just what we do. There's nothing else that we can do about it.
Yeah.
We did what we could. Uh, and that's that. And there's a lot of things about the world that again are is changing, and we just have to evolve
Mm-hmm.
and adapt. I mean, we're humans, we're energy beings, and so
Well, and
that's what we're good at.
I think it's important to understand, for someone who's really deep into their emotions and they tend to maybe be a little dysregulated at times and whatever, the concept of just dropping something, I think, and I know this because I've been there, the concept of just dropping something seems like so wild and so just
Right.
unfathomable because you're so used to being in that emotional state.
Yeah.
And I think, that's happened for me very gradually and has sort of where like now I'm to the point where like it's almost scary how quickly I let things go.
Yeah.
There's some things that still stick around, but they stick around thought wise, but not emotion wise, for the most part.
Right.
And that I think really comes from doing a lot of the different mindfulness techniques and exercises,
Hmm.
really taking a hard look internally, doing a lot of the self improvement that we tend to be very afraid of. And it's not necessarily easy, but it does make it so that when things do come up, you can just literally go, oh shit, that sucks. Okay, I'm going to get back to work.
Right. Now, with that said, because there's going to be argument on
Hmm.
either side, no matter what
I would have
happens.
hoped that if it hasn't happened already, it's not going to, because now what are you going to do about anything? Why are
Well,
you still having arguments?
I know my point is that no matter what side wins, the other side is going to complain that something happened that created a false
I'm
uh,
not going to go into that
decision.
because one side was pushing for that not to happen, and the other side was like, "Let's open the floodgates." So
Okay. But
that
my
that
but
argument
but
doesn't exist.
but my point is that letting things go, like, okay, decisions made, let it go, is one thing. But making sure that everything was legitimate and making sure that the decision was based on that legitimacy, that's different. And that's not what the letting it go is about. It's not about, like, okay, cool, we're done. Okay, wipe our hands of this. It's
I'm
over.
talking about individual emotions here. I'm not talking
I'm
about that.
just making it very clear because it could be misconstrued
I think,
as
okay, if you're listening to this and you decide that me saying that means you should drop like a lawsuit against somebody because you should just let it go. I'm trying to think of something comparable that's like to an individual person. Then maybe we need to have a different conversation, because what I'm talking about is getting triggered by things. That's what I'm talking about.
Right. Right. And so let those people that can control the decisions or the arguments, let them deal with that. You just mind yourself, mind your emotions, mind your triggers. And that's all you need to do. I was watching this really cool reel today, and I actually posted it on my story because it was so good. And it was this woman, and she was obviously having a support group, and this man was talking about, well, I have this button, and if this button is pushed and it is bright red, and if it is pushed, then I'm just going to go off. And, it's not my fault that person pushed my button and then I went off. And it's like, the point is that you have a button to push.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have oh my gosh, if you have a button to push, that is a trigger, and that is opening yourself up to being manipulated, whether it's by the world or by other people. Mm-hmm. And so it's getting rid of your triggers, getting rid of those buttons so that they're not there.
This is why I say all the time, I am so glad that I grew up with a family of ball busters, because I'm sorry, but the happiest people, the most emotionally regulated people, are those who grew up with like a household of ball busters, a family of ball busters, because you either have to freaking get over it, or you're going to be crying every time you interact with your family. And I've been there too. And guess what? I got over it.
Yeah.
I'm #blessed and grateful.
I know. You are.
We've had this conversation before, because you didn't necessarily grow up in a house of ball busters. And so I'll have to say to you, like, okay, we're breaking your chops. Relax.
And it's funny because I did, in the sense of like my grandfather, my great grandfather. Mm-hmm. Like, Papu used to bust chops all the time.
Yeah.
You know
what the difference is? It's probably because you didn't live with it. Like, your mom was not a chop buster at all. Oh, I see. Yes. Smirking. Who's in the comments?
Oh, Raymond.
Yeah.
Swing and miss.
Oh, you were here for the boot and the poosh?
Oh my God! Get the shovel. Get the shovel, Raymond. We're gonna have to dig.
But anyway, did you just say #? Yeah, I do it ironically sometimes. It gets, but it's one of those things that I started to do ironically, and then it'll just come out because the irony just continues. Anyway, you didn't grow. I don't think your mom was not a chop buster at all, so that's probably the difference. Is like it was 24/7 for me, so you literally have to like get used to it.
Oh yeah, there was no doubt. When my mom was pissed, she had these evil eyes that she would glare at me, and I know you were never affected by those eyes, but man, when she gave me those eyes when I was a kid, I was like, okay.
Yeah, because guilt trips can take a hike. That's why.
That was not guilt. That she was getting angry.
But it's like it's along the same lines. It's like the same. She would throw crocodile tears around too, and I'd be like, okay, are we done? What are we doing?
Are we done? Are we good?
Are we done?
Can we move on now? Just move on.
She would get so mad when she couldn't bug me. But anyway, back to the topic.
Anywho, but honestly, that's how you had taken the red button, and you got rid of that. Like, you got rid of those red buttons.
It's like I just kept pressing the button to piss myself off enough that I was like, okay, I don't want, I can't keep being bothered by like this.
Yeah.
And that's why I say all the time, if watching something triggers you, if everything through this whole political run has been triggering you and you've been avoiding one side like the plague, freaking go back and watch the other side that triggers you and desensitize yourself to it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to desensitize ourselves to everything. There's some things we shouldn't be, but something like this is how you get over triggers.
Right.
Is you have to force yourself to be a part of them. Even when you have OCD, which I recently have discovered myself, you have to expose yourself to the things that bug you. That is the only way to get over them.
Yeah. And it's been interesting because I have been doing that and watching the two sides. And what I think is so
Interesting.
interesting again is when the manipulation and the editing
Yeah.
that goes on to support either side's agenda. And I've seen it more on one side than the other. But just the manipulation of taking words,
Yeah.
splicing it, and then putting it into a completely different context.
Yeah, you know what that's called? That's called propaganda.
Yeah.
When I was in school, we were told the USA does not do propaganda. That is something that happens in communist countries, not here in America. And then you grow up and realize, oh no, that in itself was propaganda.
Yeah. I think my history teacher from middle school, Mr. Lee. Hi, Mr. Lee, if you're out there somewhere. Really cool guy. Really cool guy. And yeah, he had said to us, like, yeah, there's no propaganda, like that was part of history. I'm just not a fan of the other side. That's
And that's
cool.
totally cool, Raymond. I'm the same way. I'm not really triggered by it, so I don't feel the need to watch it. But if you are triggered by it, because, you know, this makes me think too of like the people, and listen, we have family members that have done this that are like, this certain group of family is toxic. I'm cutting them off. Some are for sure, totally. And I'm totally with it for the people who
Right.
actually truly are toxic. That's not what I'm talking about. But the people who just like disagree with you, and so like you can't emotionally regulate yourself, so you're like, I'm just gonna cut them off.
Right.
It's the same sort of concept here. By cutting it off, you're actually making the problem worse, and it's compounding on itself. It's kind of like another example that's maybe not so controversial. Have you ever decided you were going to, let's say, cut out sugar? That's a pretty classic one. I won't say meat or whatever. I'll just say sugar. If you've ever tried to cut out sugar, if you've ever tried to cut out meat, if you've ever tried to cut out dairy, something like that, the minute, let's say you go a couple weeks without it, the minute you eat it again for the first time, your body freaks the F out.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing happens when you restrict your view of something, so
Yeah.
or your interaction with something. So if you are so triggered by either political opponent that you refuse to watch anything of theirs, the second you do see something, your emotions, your adrenaline, your nervous system is going to go haywire. The holidays are coming up. If you've been avoiding your Aunt Sally for 365 days a year because she just really aggravates you, do you think everything's going to be fine on Thanksgiving?
Yep.
And honestly, what my strategy was for one of our family members, I'd start reaching out beforehand and get little doses, little micro doses of the person before the holidays. So that way when the holiday came, they got all of their like stuff out of the way. And then the holidays were a little bit easier. They got all the stories and the drama and the gossiping and whatever. Get that out of the way beforehand. So then on the holiday, smooth sailing.
Well, right. And it's like when you are going to go do something that you haven't done in a long time. And think about, when we were all in lockdown and then all of a sudden everything started,
and everyone forgot how to act.
The world woke up again. Right. And then we all had to learn how to act. Thank God that we were interacting on, you just go to work and God help you. Oh my goodness, I give you so much kudos.
You know what, actually? Thank you for saying that, Raymond. Another great example. There are, and I know I'm not the only one, this used to happen to me in my old job. I never wanted to take a vacation because I would take a couple days, a week off without all of those triggers and then dread going back. Why? Because I wasn't dealing with the shit.
Right. Well, and I was going to say, so when we all came out of lockdown, thank goodness that we had like Zoom, because then we could still somewhat stay in contact. And then when, how many extroverts I think turned into introverts because they were home for so long,
really?
and they realized
they were not exposing themselves to things that made them uncomfortable.
Right. And then, and again, that button got redder and redder and bigger and bigger. And so now anybody can step on your trigger and
There was
anybody can manipulate you.
there was a massive, massive increase in anxiety and depression diagnoses.
Yes. Yes.
I'm not surprised by that. Not
No.
surprised one bit. How interesting that also these online therapy platforms also massively grew in that amount of time. It's
Mm-hmm.
like they saw a need and had everything developed and ready for it.
Right. But the good thing that it did help with, at least I know for me, and
What
I
did
can't speak for everybody, was that
that
I
wasn't with.
the lockdowns and not going out was I got really comfortable with myself. I was able to
Yeah.
dive into certain things and that I needed to do. And also with the absence of the triggers, realized, wait a minute, why does life feel so much calmer now?
Mm-hmm.
And then it highlighted what the triggers actually were
Mm-hmm.
because they weren't in my life. And so I was like, oh. So when you take inventory of why do I feel so good when I'm on the holiday, when I'm on a vacation? Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
And so now it gives you some clues into what that red button is that you're hoping nobody pushes. But you can't walk around hoping no one pushes your buttons.
No.
You got to get rid of the buttons. And then you don't have anything to worry about. But
Yeah.
you got to get rid of those buttons.
Because the classic saying, I think it's Eleanor Roosevelt, right? No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. And honestly, I've been in the mindset where I've been like, I freaking hate this quote because you know what? This person is making me feel bad. And then I got a grip on myself
Mm-hmm.
and what was going on in here.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, okay, that's great for them. Okay. I'm gonna move on with my life now.
Mm-hmm.
And see you later.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I was going to say, put that comment up.
Interesting, Raymond. So you took time for mindfulness and peace and
Hmm.
quiet and time to give your nervous system say some decompression.
I hope you're continuing to do that. And if not, you should.
That literally sounds like a dream. Also,
Doesn't it?
TW.
Or just like being on the paddleboard, right? And just, being in the Keys when we would go down there and just
Nature's
float
so healing.
and the manatees underneath. And so, you know, we know that there's going to be something that's going to come to pass. Shout out. Haha. What? Come to pass. It's a Lord of the Rings Hobbit.
You shall not pass.
No, the things come to pass. Like he says that somewhere.
He does.
Anyway, my point is that prepare yourself, which means premeditate for it.
Which
Like
could mean visualizing the side that you don't want winning, and allow yourself to feel those emotions ahead of time.
you could
Don't do
do
it. I
that.
mean,
You
don't do
could do that. You could do that.
That's what I do.
Or you could just visualize yourself on the kayak in the lake and just be calm.
Two different methods. Two different
Yeah.
methods.
You're like exposure therapy. Look, and I'm
In
like
any situation, I wanna visualize and be prepared
whatever.
for all the different scenarios. I wanna go through them in my mind, and
Mhm.
because then it's a non-issue. Now I know in every situation I'll be prepared.
And you know what that is an example of, which I did not know. And
I know that already, but anyway.
no, until I did research on it, that is a part of being
OCD?
stoic.
Oh.
No, stoicism. Stoicism tells you that you should not like have anxiety over different things that could go wrong, but to look at what could happen and all right, fine,
No, you know what?
whatever.
I just realized what it was. Thank you, Raymond, for saying that. It's
Galadriel.
it's Galadriel when Frodo's looking into the mirror and she says, I know what it is you saw, for it is also in my mind. It is what shall happen if Or no, it's what shall come to pass if you should fail. Got you.
See?
Nailed it.
One for me. But my point is I don't even remember what my point is. Premeditate for the things that you know may happen.
Oh, you're talking about stoicism.
No, that's right, stoicism.
This episode is so chaotic.
Welcome to the chaos.
Oh man.
Yes, stoicism. So it's about being prepared mentally for different scenarios so that you are not triggered, but that you've already worked it out through your mind of the different ways that you could potentially get out of a situation. And so it's kind of like being MacGyver in a way. You look at what's around
you.
Huh?
Thank you. Yeah, that's a good. My mind is like MacGyver. I like that.
Yes, you're just preparing, not from a place of fear, but like, okay, so this could happen, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen. Let me prep.
And it's not. I mean, I even don't know if the word prepare is the right word, because it's more of I want to run through the scenarios so that I can more quickly get over the initial nervous system rush. If like something doesn't go the way that I anticipated it, because if I'm only thinking of one way and I'm not considering any other possibility, then when those other possibilities might happen, my nervous system goes crazy. It's going to take me an extra little bit before I can like get into action. Versus if I just run through them all real quick, I can go, okay, so if that happens, okay, but yeah, I guess it is preparing. But it's also like allowing my nervous system to not freak out so much if X, Y, and Z happen. Yeah.
Well, and it was so interesting when I dove into stoicism, because when people say like, "Oh, you're stoic," it can sound like rude and like demeaning, like stoic, like you have no emotions and you are just no. It means that you're in the moment and it doesn't matter because you're just prepared mentally and emotionally for whatever happens, like because that you have no control over it. So whatever it is, you're ready. Like you're just like, you're bobbing and you're weaving and you're ready to go whatever happens. It's functioning from the world of the void or from being. So if you're here, right, in that moment, I feel like oh my gosh, wax on, wax off, Mr. Muaki.
You're asking the wrong girl. I've never seen the movies.
Raymond will know. But anyway, but it's like functioning from that place of being where you're just very still, but yet a fly comes and you can grab it because you can just sense it, hear it, and you can just grab it. And so it's like the same thing with anything that's happening around you. You just, okay, I'm here. This is where I'm at. I'm who I am. I know I have everything that I need inside of me, and I'll deal with whatever. Yes, Karate Kid, but who's the Miyagi, Mr. Miyagi. Thank you, Raymond. Yes, thank you. And so it's just being able to prep and prepare yourself. It's training for what happens. You have a call out. I'll do a call out. Roseanne, who does the shout out for dog training, where she says train for the situation, not try to make the dog behave in a situation.
Train for the situation, not in the situation. So like, for example, if your dog is super triggered by squirrels, you practice getting them desensitized to squirrels, not while you're at some important function or at at the park or something like that. You do it ahead of time so that when you're then in those situations, you don't have to deal with the triggers.
Right. So it's the same.
It really is. Yeah.
It's exactly the same thing. You are trained. So if you train a dog, to listen to you and to come back to you, recall, and that dog comes to you every single time, then pretty much, even though if there's a squirrel or a cat or whatever, if you say, no, come back or whatever the saying is, Yes, it's better to be a warrior. That's Musaki.
What?
Miyamoto Musashi.
Is that who said that?
Yes, it's a
Okay, thank
Miyamoto.
you.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. It's better to be
I
a
thought you were just
warrior in a
saying the word.
garden than a gardener in a war. Yes. Because you're prepped and you're ready, you have the tools, and so therefore you can utilize them in any moment. And so, yes, train yourself like you would train your dog. And what's very interesting is, and I will just share this. I got an email this morning from the universe. You know that group that we once belonged to. That I still get the emails, and it's like from the universe.
That
Um,
for some reason instantly made it sound like a cult to me. It's just an email list that she
an
signed up
email.
for an event she did at one point. Like,
Do you know why dogs are? See, we go back to dogs. Do you know why dogs are so quick to wag their tails and cats are so quick to purr? Even the ones that have been lonely, abused, and betrayed. Because, as is true of all sentience, they are instilled with the distant awareness that no matter what the world shows them, they're still deeply loved and needed, that their presence alone has made a difference, and that in just the shake of a leg, seemingly without reason or rhyme, everything can fantastically change for the better, as is true of all people, except sometimes we tend to forget. Perfectly said, and then signed by the universe. It's lovely emails.
I remember why I unsubscribed.
See, we're so different and so alike at the same time.
Because that to me, as soon as you said, because the dog thinks this, and this, I'm going, the dog just has a short attention span and does not remember all of those other things. But all right, for sure. Very motivational. I see the point. I
Yeah.
definitely see the point.
In a snap of a finger, things can get better. You just have to allow yourself to actually hear the snap.
Okay. I'm not going to throw that quote on one of your quote posts, but okay.
Oh god,
Totally.
I
For
love
sure.
I love talking a bumper sticker. And I don't even know if anyone would buy that bumper sticker, but it shall come to
Wait, what?
pass.
What was the line again?
I don't remember. But anyway. Anywho, see, just laugh. Laughing is the best medicine and
Oh,
makes
speaking of which,
everything better. That
on
is
November 21st, our moment of presence topic is actually laugh it off. So
oh,
there you go.
cool.
So anyway, basically what we're trying to say over this 43 minutes is just try to stay calm. And if it's not possible for you to stay calm, if that's just not your thing, book a call with Michelle. Seriously. Get a handle on it, because I've been there. And that shit's exhausting. It's gonna make your adrenals go all out of whack. You're gonna be tired all the time, irritable all the time.
Yep.
You're gonna get really triggered like all the time. And isn't it funny, because like years ago, the word trigger was such like a joke word. And I think that really in and of itself goes to show you like how different society is now from literally just like 5 or 6 years ago. Is that used to be like such a joke, because everyone was just like, something happened, you freaking moved on. Like the majority of people were just like,
Right.
no matter what was said, done, jokes thrown out, it was just like, yeah, okay, whatever, move on. There were some people who took it personally, whatever. And now it's actually flip flopped, and most people take everything personally. And the word trigger is like this. There needs to be a whole conversation about it now. And ba 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 ba. It's just very interesting.
Yeah. You cannot change anyone else. You can only work on yourself. And make sure that your buttons aren't lit up for other people to see. Get rid of them altogether. And if you need help doing that, then book a freaking call. Mokshagrace.com. Yes. I know.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
Call.
Yeah. Book a call. Mokshagrace.com/coaching. And if you want to join the Thankful Train, as I have been reminded several times today, it is mokshagrace.com/groups. It is a private group, and anything that you post in there will remain private within the group. But we are having the Thankful Train, and it is really, really important when you start your day in gratitude. And just even if you're thinking about it, you don't have to share a picture, you don't have to comment, you don't have to write a dissertation. Just be in that gratitude of whatever the prompt is, and it reminds, what it brings up for you, not triggers you. Maybe it triggers a good memory, which is what I want. So
And
yes.
you know what I love about the Thankful Train challenge that you're doing is so often we forget that it really is the simplest things that make the biggest impact.
Yeah.
And so the Thankful Train is you post every morning with a little prompt. What was this morning's? This morning's was, it was,
This
uh,
morning was a first. Do you what first are you grateful for?
okay, what first? Yeah, okay. Yesterday was, what transportation method are you grateful for and why? Like it's simple things, but the
Mhm.
point is it doesn't have to be some super complex thing that helps you along your way,
Yeah.
helps you in your day, whatever. Like it's usually always the simplest thing
Mhm.
that makes the biggest difference.
Yeah. And
That's a great reminder.
what was fun about sharing today's, because I always share as well, I'm never going to ask someone to do something I'm not willing to do, was actually a story of my very first Thanksgiving that I hosted with my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time. And I probably, my Greek grandmother was not happy that I was living in sin without being married. But she still came over for Thanksgiving. And it was the first time I ever did Thanksgiving by myself, and it was the first time I did a turkey and did all the sides. I'm sure she brought the Greek stuffing. I was trying to find the picture of it because I have a picture of my table, and it was like I served the turkey in the aluminum, pan that I cooked it in, and like I didn't have, like, it was just this small table, and it was just so. But the point is that the story itself, my husband, your father, he left. Like, he left me cooking and he went to the beach because in Florida, always on Thanksgiving, there's waves. There's some kind of a cold front and there's waves. And so he left. He booked it and he went surfing, and Yaya and Papu come over and they're like, "Well, where's Michael?" And I'm like, he's he's at the beach. And like I think Papu drove up to the beach and was like, "Get out of the water and come back. We have, like, dinner is
Hello,
ready."
Papu.
And, it was so funny. But what Yaya's words to me was, "You cannot change the other person. Like, they are who they are." And basically, like, you're signing up for this. So be okay with it or don't be okay with it, but this is a decision that you're making. Don't try to, I was going to say edit because I see the word edit. Don't try to change somebody. Um, accept them unconditionally, love them unconditionally. And it was such an important moment and such a big lesson for me that may not have come to pass if that Thanksgiving had not happened and panned out the way that it did.
Well, and here's the thing: just switch out person for life. You can't change
Exactly.
life. You can't bend life. You either need to accept it or be miserable.
Unconditionally, right. And be the warrior in the garden.
Hmm.
So,
And here's the other thing: if you're truly doing your best, if you're truly doing the inner work for yourself, if you're truly giving life your all,
mhm,
it's a lot easier to then let go and just say life, roll with the punches of life. Life is
yeah.
what it is. Because I find that I know when I'm not putting my all in, it's not just like, oh, I'm so frustrated with life, but there's also this massive wave undertone of I'm so frustrated because I'm frustrated with myself.
Yeah.
And that's something that you really don't notice unless you're looking for it. And so you
Mhm.
just then blame it on life. But life's not the problem. Not saying that you are the problem, but life isn't the problem. It's the perspective about life. It's the view of life. It's the not putting your all in.
Right. Or being really hard on yourself for no reason if you feel like you're not putting your all in, but you really are.
Well, and
You know,
I don't know why I always
perspective.
yawn on these episodes. I
You're
cannot
getting
help
it all out. You're cleansing your throat chakra.
It's like this episode is tapping.
Yeah.
We
I
should
miss
do that one
tapping.
episode. I love
Oh,
it.
we should. We should
If you don't
totally.
know what tapping is, we'll do an EFT episode.
Yeah, because it does.
Oh,
It
that
just
feels so good.
doesn't it? God, it's been so long. Yeah.
Really? Oh, there's a great guy on YouTube if you're interested in tapping, aka EFT. His name is Brad Yates. Really good stuff. Has a
Mhm.
lot of pre-prepared tapping phrases because typically you say something with all of these. And
This one's
basically,
always the hardest one for me.
oh, I love this one. This one feels so good. Typically with tapping, just a quick little intro is it hits certain pressure points, and so what happens is you say certain phrases. You're actually kind of desensitizing your nervous system because you
Mhm.
say certain phrases that would cause some excitement within your nervous system, and then you're tapping the pressure points to basically release it. And so what'll happen often is you'll yawn, burp, toot, sneeze because it's getting energy out, and so that's very common when you do EFT/tapping. It's the same thing.
Interesting that when we do things on the dogs, like cut their nails or whatever, we're smacking them in the forehead. So we're kind of doing tapping for the dogs. We just never
Also a
realized it
distraction,
before.
but yeah,
Yeah.
they also tend to sneeze a lot, which is interesting. But
Yeah. Interesting.
anywho, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for
It's been
joining us.
great chatting with all of you.
Yes. And Raymond, have a great day at work if you're going to work today. Yes, she did say toot. Toot, toot. Thankful train.
I was gonna say the other word, but I felt like toot was a little bit softer, so that's why I went with toot.
You mean fart?
Yeah, you feel how like harsh that sounds?
It's a fart.
Anyway, okay. What a great time to wrap it up. If anyone wants to get in contact with me, go to wickedwisdomconsulting.com for all of your operational and fractional COO needs. Michelle, where can everyone find you?
mokshagrace.com. Anywhere on social media is Moksha Grace as well. I'm just like so
We
off.
gotta rehearse this so you can get it.
So funny.
This Thursday at noon for Moment of Presence, we're talking about the topic is let them help. I just
Yes.
shared that on the different social medias, but the email I think goes out tomorrow night. Kind of giving you a little inside look at what that episode is about. And then next week on Shockingly Delightful, we're talking about are you a winner or a loser?
And if you subscribe to the Moksha Grace newsletter, which is mokshagrace.com/email, every Sunday, every Sunday, a newsletter goes out. It's really
Michelle
cool.
obviously clearly writes it, posts it, schedules it all herself. Clearly.
This is why you have a COO, so I can do what I love and I can just talk.
Just for record, she does write it. I just polish it.
Yeah, you just
put
make it
in
so
a
it's not chaotic.
tie a little bow tie on it, wrap it in some wrapping paper.
There's times where she can get 3 out of one thing, so yeah. Anyway,
have
a wonderful
email.
Yes, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a great tomorrow, and remember, it's all okay. We'll all be just fine.
I know you like to get the last word in, but also, as we say with the goats, you always just tie it up really nicely.
Yes.
That's what I mean by that. Let me just be clear. Keep your head on a swivel this week, everybody. Expect the unexpected. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of those around you. If you're traveling, extra head on a swivel, because obviously days like tomorrow can tend to lead to some unrest in the population. So keep your head on a swivel. That means look around, be aware of your surroundings. Don't have your head in your phone if you're going through parking lots or whatever. Be aware of what's going on. Be smart. Keep your head on a swivel.
Yeah, I would say for the rest of the week. Anywho.
Maybe even the month. Get a little crazy. Do it the whole month. And then maybe extend it into the end of the year, into next year. Just keep your head on a swivel.
Nah. See, our goats just go, hey, girl, when they see Krista.
You really... Another bumper sticker. Where does it end? Where does it end?
I love bumper stickers speak. It's my favorite thing ever. Yes. Nah. Okay.
All right. Bye, everybody. It was great to see you.
Bye, everybody.